Glory host. He's on tomorrow from 9 o'clock with the team, but he is here, Matthew Johns. Matthew, good afternoon.
Gentlemen, how are you?
Going
Start
good.
your engines.
Yeah, speaking of billions, Matthew is here. What did you do last night, Matthew? Where did you watch it? What did you eat? And how many scotches did you have?
Mate, well, I didn't have scotches. I was into the vodka.
Yeah.
I was a very, rusky type of mood. Just slamming the vodka into me. Mate had some corn chips, spilled in a bit of nachos, and then we had at full time. We went down and did the backstage podcast review.
Oh,
and I was a little scratchy on it, I must say. There was some pregnant pauses, just trying to basically remember parts of the game, but we got there.
Matthew,
but interesting game.
Can you tell me about the time you smuggled vodka in? I think it was Cooper's graduation, and you had to deny. You're big on this, aren't you? You're a mad smuggler.
Yeah, I am. I got the tell you where I got the inspiration from. We once at Triple M, because Crystal Head Vodka was started by Dan Aykroyd.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he came into Triple M one day with the Crystal Head Vodka, and I asked him the question because I love the little Crystal Heads. So, mate, I said, where'd you get the idea for that? And he said that Keith Richards requested he make the smaller ones because Keith Richards' wife, his younger wife, hates him drinking vodka on stage, so he sneaks it into his jackets. And I went, right. Well, if it's good enough for the great man, it's good enough for me. So anyway, Cooper had his graduation. Of course, we went. It was at the church with us, being fish eaters and left footers, and I was like, oh, church. Like honestly, seriously, an hour out of your life, you'll never get back. So I just smuggled about 4 vodkas in. Anyway, Trish did the. What do they call it when you go down? Someone holds the wine, and someone's got the Eucharist, and they walk down. It was
Communion.
like that. She was doing the procession. She was taking it down, right, and feeling very important. So as soon as she took off, I went the other way and went to the shit house and just basically slammed about 3 vodkas into me, and then and I came back and she goes, "My God, you smell like vodka," and I went like, "What? What are you talking about?" And she hit my pocket, and honestly, I rattled. I was like a rattler. It does. But, mate, you need something to get through church.
Yeah, you do.
Fair dinkum.
You do.
Prayers of the faithful and all that. Oh, mate, leave me out of it. I'd rather go to hell.
Hey, Matty, you mentioned Dan Aykroyd, right? So I remember a skit on Saturday Night Live where the late Brian Wilson, who passed away last week of the Beach Boys, rather, he's asleep in bed. It's a skit. And Dan Aykroyd knocks on the door, and James Belushi was with him as well. And they drag him out of the bed. And the whole skit's around the fact that, do you know that Brian Wilson, who wrote all these songs for the Beach Boys, never surfed? Never learned to surf, and was actually scared of the ocean.
Oh.
So can you believe that?
Yeah, I can.
Cool story, Hansel.
Never surfed. And his old man, in his movie Love and Mercy, didn't really cover it as much as there was a movie, a B-grade movie a number of years ago about the life of Brian Wilson. And his old man was a real frustrated muso who never made it, and so poured his energy into Brian, and then when Brian made it, was jealous of him. Oh. And Brian Wilson, he hit him across the ear with his shoe once, and Brian Wilson, as a consequence, went deaf in that ear and was through his whole life was never able to listen to his own music in stereo.
Oh,
and
what sort of shoe was it?
Oh, it's a good question. I think it was like one of those nice Italian ones with the Cuban heel. Oh. And but of course when the Beach Boys, when the Beatles brought out Sgt. Pepper's, he went into a really dark hole. He basically stayed in bed for nearly 18 months, just dropping acid, just living the life of Riley, just under the doona, and then came out and made Pet Sounds out of that. So he just listened all day, every day to Sgt. Pepper's, just in pure jealousy and envy. And then the one of the greatest albums of all time, Pet Sounds, come out of that. That's why, boys, I'm just exclusive here. I'm just going to stay in bed the next 18 months and just take mushrooms, drop acid, all that stuff, mate.
Oh dear!
Microdosing. Matthew, let's talk about Origin.
Oh, do we have to?
We have to. We got to do this. Now, I know you were quite vocal, saying that we thoroughly deserved those penalties and our ill discipline cost us.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought so, Fletch. I thought that sometimes after a game, people will point to to the penalty count, and they will blame the referee on it. But if you look at most of the penalties, they're warranted. Just ill discipline from our part. I mean, there's a couple of obvious ones. One of which was, Zach Lomax, that elbow, that he did. Like that's just it was insane. And there was a few of those. We just, that we were ill-disciplined. I thought that was the tale of the tape of the night, in the fact that we just kept giving them field positions through drop balls and penalties and although it's amazing, isn't it, that we scored more tries than them. But I must say, at that last few minutes, or attacking their line, I just, when you get a feeling, we're not going to score because we just don't deserve to win.
Hey, Matty, we're waxing lyrically about Munster, right? So he's not a New South Welshman, but he's a bloody fine player. And that we were concerned last week when we spoke about the C in the brackets that Billy gave him. That was a big play. But we were trying to sort of land on, these days people like to do comparisons. If there was a hierarchy of, say, Queensland players in State of Origin, where does he land? Where is Munster in the pecking order?
Look, Joel, I've said for a while, when you talk about the greatest Queensland State of Origin players of all time, he has to be in the discussion. And I know we look back to the past, and it's sort of, the old rose-coloured glasses thing, and I think in a lot of ways, boys, like, we don't critique the past as harsh as we do the present. Particularly this day and age with social media and so on and so forth. But I was thinking, Rudder, who are the top 5 Queensland, or let's just say State of Origin players of all time?
Yep.
Well, Wally's the obvious one. Cameron Smith is the other. But then you start to get into people like, there's Joey, Brett Kenny, Laurie Daly, Bradley Clyde. Mate, I'm telling you, in my opinion, Munster, I think, is in the top 5 State of Origin players of all time. Wow. Just what he has done for Queensland, the importance of the roles that he has played, sometimes in Queensland sides that weren't that strong, and he's just dragged them across the line. And last night it just added to the legend, that he's given the captaincy. And I was sitting with my 2 blokes on the couch last night, and of course Coop, mates with Munster, played a fair bit with him. And when he came out of the tunnel, was walking out, Coop said, I've never seen him so stone-faced. Wow. And at one point, the excitement of it, he actually started shaking. And I reckon it took him, I think that 7-tackle set that he put in, which led to our first try, I reckon that was adrenaline. Because he gave it plenty, and I think it was just the excitement and the adrenaline just pouring through him. But it was it proved to be a masterstroke from Billy, in the fact that, dropping DCE, putting more pressure on Munster, bringing Tom Dearden into the side, what it actually started to do, their attacks simplified a little bit. If you watch Dearden and Munster, it was run first, pass second, and I thought both of those guys are very good. I thought Dearden was terrific.
I'll tell you what, Matty, Fletch raised a good point. You mentioned 2 players, Fletch, off the bench, and you said if you were told these guys would play X minutes, tell Matty what you said to me earlier.
So if Queensland won, I was saying to Shug, and if you told me that Jeremiah Nanai and Paddy Carrigan played less than half a game and Queensland win, I would have said you got rocks in your head.
Yeah.
But it was that, along with putting Dearden in and putting Munster with a C, it was, I thought, Kirk Catewell. I thought he was the best player on the field. I know Munster got the...
Yep.
But Kirk, that's a massive call by Billy to put a bloke in who a lot of people said, well, he's over the hill. He's not ready for Origin. And Kurt Mann too.
Yeah. Fletch, when I did my 3-2-1, I went, right, 3 points Munster. I got on the Munster Express. 2 points, I went Kirk Catewell.
Yeah.
I it's that old saying, which is you take an old dog for a hard road, and that's why Billy put him in there. And when we had Luke Metcalf on the show, before the show when we were talking about the Warriors and everything, he made special mention of him, Kirk Catewell, and he said Andrew Webster, if he's up against on that side a really good defensive centre, he'll say to Kirk Catewell, mate, I need you to play centre for me, and he'll go, oh mate. He said he doesn't like to. He goes, oh no mate, come on, I'm past that. He said, but every time he plays there, he comes out on top, no matter who he's against. And further evidence, mate, he was fantastic. He was really good. Yeah, I thought it was. What do you think of the game, boys? I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, it was better than game one. Definitely better.
It certainly was.
We needed it. We needed that result, I think. I love the Blues, but it is great.
It would have been handy to knock it over in two, but now, everyone got what they wanted. Everyone got what they wanted, and we'll be talking about this for the next 3 weeks. Ready to roll.
Nathan, interesting about Nathan, boys. When the first sight we had of Nathan last night was in the warm-up, and the first thing you saw was the hamstring tapes, and you went, oh wow, okay. And then he didn't kick the ball. No. It was. I wonder if, looking back, both Nathan and Laurie, if he play. And what's interesting here is we don't know the extent of the hamstring, but Mitchell Moses is out. If something happens and Nathan can't play, righto, who's our 7?
Oh,
Fletch.
Fletch. I think it's going to be our boy. You'd have to. Isaiah Katoa. I know Luke.
Oh, imagine that.
I know Metcalf.
Oh, please.
I know Metcalf
I'd love to see that.
Leading the Dally M. But I just feel this kid has got the temperament for Origin.
Fletch, I totally agree with you, mate. Yeah. I totally agree with you. That would be. Wouldn't that be a story?
And his kicking game too. Like we probably missed the Moses kicking.
We did miss the but Latrell got in there. Latrell did a couple of those.
Yep.
But our errors far out.
Yeah.
I know it was wet.
And do you know, Fletcher, like you said about our errors there, we've spoken about this before, not giving Queensland what they wanted, and I thought we didn't move the ball enough. Like every single time that we gave Latrell and Critter early ball, they did something with it. Whether it was a try or they made easy yardage. I thought at times, and it's a really fine line as a ball player, because when you run your attacking shapes, you want to dig into the line, but sometimes that's fraught with danger. In the wet, you're putting pressure on your outside man. I thought probably our playmakers probably took the ball too far into the line at times, rather than, because Queensland were defending outside in and rushing us regardless of the shape that we're going to play. So I thought that every time we get the ball to the edge nice and quick, we caught them out. But at times it just took us too long to get there.
Hey, boys, question for you both. 2 games we've seen now, dominant New South Wales and dominant for a big chunk last night, Queensland. Who's been the best player so far? Who would be leading the Wally Lewis medal?
Payne has.
Payne has?
Payne has.
Yeah, Payne.
He was brilliant again last night.
I know.
The footwork on him and the pace on him.
Yeah. If we win the third game, he's Wally Lewis medal for sure.
Yeah. Is the Luai? You're still happy to go with Luai game 3?
Fletch, he was. How many tries? It was about 3 try assists or something.
2 with kicks. I can.
2 with kicks, yeah. But he was out a bit. He was out of sorts a bit. Jerome took him. Yeah, it was. He did some good stuff, and there's other stuff that he want back. I mean, the kick out in the forward, there were a few passes that went to ground. He was erratic.
Yeah,
Jerome. He wasn't bad, but he was just erratic.
That's part of his makeup, though, isn't it? Come on,
it is.
Left foot.
Yeah,
but in the end, look, we scored more tries, so not to worry. Game 3 is going to be a beauty.
Does last night get into the head of Daly?
Man.
Does it get into the head of Daly? Like, does he start to think, oh, look what happened with the I know it wasn't his fault in game 1.
No.
Not all his fault. But does that affect his decision last night? No.
No, I don't think so. Do you?
I don't know.
I don't know, mate. This is shrouded in mystery.
Yeah,
a lot of events, Rooster stuff. I mean, the stuff that hasn't been. There hasn't been a lot made of the Clinton Tchaikovsky comment regarding, because he manages Sammy Walker, and he came out and said that he insinuated the Chooks are looking to backflip, and now I think they've knocked that on the head. But geez, mate, that's a if that does happen, that's a big story.
Now, Matthew, I want to talk about your sons. So they're saying about Gen Z or Gen Z, they don't know how to do things like around the house, chores and stuff. I want to ask you about this. Less than half of Gen Z or Z don't know how to add air to a car tyre, and even fewer know how to fit a windshield wiper blade. And a shocking 30% of the group could not identify a flathead screwdriver.
Wow.
Or while 30% couldn't recognise a wrench. Did your boys fit into that, or are they pretty handy?
the younger bloke is exactly like me in the fact that he's hopeless. He can't do anything around the house, and the older bloke is just a genius around the house. Yeah. Mate, he cooks. He does everything. Complete contrast.
It's what they're talking about here is we grew up having to do that. Where people now, the younger generation, can just go on an app and get the Airtasker people come in and do that sort of stuff. So I feel we need to get back to just getting them on the tools.
Are you a control freak, Brian? So
No.
I still take the bins out.
Yeah.
The boys don't do that, or the girls don't do that.
Well, that's part of your role.
My daughter texted me last night. She said, "Dad, I'm going to move out with Tani." I said, "Oh, well, that's good, darling. You're an adult. You can do. She's 18. You can do what you want." And Kobe wasn't so happy about it. And then she's texted me this morning. She said, "Dad, I'm not moving out, but why don't you think enough of me to convince me to stay?" I said, "Well, darling, get out there and live in the real world. Do what you please."
They're paying
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
And you've got to come up with the Allen Bond. The Bond's 4 weeks.
I know.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
4 large. Probably more.
Oh, mate, what about it?
I didn't realise how renting is off its head. How
What about
expensive renting is.
Just throwing money down in the toilet.
Is it really?
But, mate, how much, like, the Uber Eats things. I remember, right? I remember in the early 80s being in the car with the old man and going through drive-through McDonald's for the first time.
Yeah.
And my old man, honestly, it was like he'd seen the Virgin Mary herself. He was like, "Mate, I can't believe..." He spoke about the whole hour drive back to Cessnock.
Yeah.
And these days, I'm in awe that they were sitting there last night and they go, "Oh, geez, wouldn't mind something a bit sweet." All right, mate. So they did the Uber Eats for 7-Eleven, right?
Oh.
I'm just going, where does this end?
I know. My epitaph is going to have Joel Kane died of subscriptions. Like, we've got that many subscriptions coming out of here.
Subscription medication.
Yeah, subscriptions. Yeah, that too. Matty, well done, mate. Thank you very much for that. We've got to roll, but we'll be tuning in tomorrow
See you,
on
Matthew.
Morning Glory.
Good on you, lads.
Oh, well overdue to catch up with this bloke. You can catch all 6 episodes of Plum right now on ABC iView, and I'm pleased to say our very own Logie nominee, Brian, BC, Brendan Cowell. Welcome back to the Run Home.
Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Fletch. Thanks, SEN Sports and Entertainment Network. It's great to be here, putting the E in SEN, and I'm up for the best mini-series, and I think there's a little bit of fine print there that says best off-screen voiceover by Joel and Fletch there. I think it says there just under it. I don't know if that goes into the Ray Martin Award, but it could all add up, potentially. Great to be here. How are you going?
Oh, BC, we are going good, although last night was a bit of a downer. Who are you up against? Who in your category, who are you up against in the best TV series?
Oh, I don't even look at the other nominees. I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be surrounded by such incredible company, but I'm not sure who they are because we're just gonna win.
Yeah.
It's really exciting. I'm a Logies man. I've always been a Logies man. So it's wonderful. I won't be able to go. That's the only sad thing. So maybe are you guys going to go? Could you collect my award?
I would, but myself, Matthew, and Hindy and Gordon are banned.
Oh, you banned?
We are banned
Why?
from the
Were you
Logies.
banned?
Yeah, banned.
What happened?
We tried to do a little segment down there, a skit, and involved me and Matty me and Hindy kicking Matty out the front in our suits. It was all staged, and Trish comes in and says, anyway, security thought it was real, and it got back to the powers that be.
Who is the power to be?
I don't know. Someone like Gus Logie, maybe?
Gus
I
Logie.
don't know. Well, why can't you go, BC? Why can't you go to Logies?
I'll be heading back to London to do a show, but I'll be there in spirit. But it's not like Plum. You know, every day on the street I get stopped by someone who says, "Thank you so much for that show," and they say, "Oh, my brother-in-law or my dad or my uncle, or we have this connection with it, and we all watched it and we told everyone." It's and that's worth 1,000 trophies. I've never made something that's affected so many people, and it's probably about something a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's also about Australian families and connecting and talking to your son and emotions and stuff. So I think people who have gone in and watched it have been impacted by it, and it's so beautiful to just be stopped in a shopping centre and have a 10-minute chat with the family about and they don't just want to say what you usually get as an actor. Oh, you're in that show. I saw you in that show. They want to talk about it. You know what I mean? They want to tell me what they liked and what they thought, which is, I guess that's exactly why I do what I do, Fletch. Like that's, you know what I mean? You want to make a positive impact, and Plum has done that. And so thanks to you guys too for all your support. You had me in there a few times. You've always talked it up. So thank you for being part of the official sponsors of the journey of Plum.
Hey, BC, we've both read the book and watched the mini-series. Can I ask you, obviously Plum's, he's the main man, Plum, right? He's the main man. But who's your favourite character away from Plum in the series?
I love Titania, who runs the poetry club. I think she's just beautiful and hilarious. And as Plum kind of opens his mind, he's like, you know, we're all people the same. And he develops his friendship with a trans lady that runs a poetry club. And you think, well, he wouldn't normally do that. And I also love Asher Keddy's character's husband, played by Jermaine Clement, Oliver, the doctor, who kind of calls it how it is and is kind of threatened by Plum's masculinity. And he's like, oh, Plum, you know, last night when I was having sex with Renee, I thought of you, you know. And I just said he was such a great character because he helped get the information out but provided a little bit of comic relief. But, you know, I was really blown away by Vincent Miller, really, who played my son, Gavin. His performance was incredible, and he's in a film called Inside, an Aussie film that's just come out if you haven't seen it. But, yeah, I love making it. I would have loved to have made another series, but one is enough. And, yeah, grateful to get an acknowledgement from the Logies and hopefully it'll bring some more attention to it.
Okay, this is who you're up against. You're up against...
He's done the Kevin Walters, Brian. He knows he's up against. He's not going to mention him.
Okay, you're up against Human Error. Never heard of it? You'll smash it.
Oh, yeah. No.
How to Make Gravy on Binge and Foxtel. No good. Fake.
Isn't that a movie? Oh, yeah.
Fake, Paramount.
Fake. Oh, yeah, no, people like that one.
Okay.
People like, they'll probably win.
Okay.
Yeah, critical. Fake might get us.
Critical Incident, and then Apple Cider Vinegar. And that's Nabes is in that one.
Oh, that's a big budget one, so they might win. I think that was on Netflix or something.
I like the strategy, Brian.
That was about the fake influencer.
Oh, okay.
I like the strategy.
Yeah, they had a lot of money. So they usually the shows with the most attention win.
Get the cash.
But you know what? Depends. Who cares? We're up there.
Oh, of course.
It's just great to be nominated.
It's all the journey, BC, and I like the strategy, though. By not going, you will know if you're winning because there'll be someone reaching out going, can you do a little video for us?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I like that. BC, just on Plum, right? And clearly, and so you should be, you're very, very proud of what Plum has achieved. And by the sounds of it, you couldn't have given a rat's with nobody listening to it. It was just something you were very, very proud of. As a result, many, 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 many people have listened to it or read it or watched it. Does that make it sort of something you want to do again? Is there another work in progress?
Yeah, look, I'm writing another film and I'm writing another series. TV is in a little bit of a funny situation at the moment, the networks and the streamers and coming out of the pandemic and the strike. So there's a bit of a quagmire at the moment. It's not as, so we're very lucky to get Plum made. And, we had over 2 million people watch Plum. You know what I mean? All the way through. That's a lot of human beings. The Australian drama audience only goes up to 3 or 4 for the big shows, So we had a lot of people watch that bloody show. And we're very proud of that. And, I've got a show in development and I've got a film in development and I loved being a showrunner. I dealt with all the departments and the casting and the music and the editing. I ran the whole show and that was so satisfying. So, I'd love to do that again and return to the Logies.
You know how you, because basically Plum's had all those head knocks, and I know you spoke to doctors and you spoke to players who. What's your take on Victor Radley? Are you across that? I mean, he's had his 7th head knock. What do you feel is the best way for Victor Radley his career? Does he have a spell this year and come back next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've heard you guys say the same as I'm going to say, which is I think if you're playing for the Roosters, you're in the best hands, I'd say, in the comp, and hats off to those guys because they will medically retire a player, even if they're, halfway through a grand final. Like, they don't care. They're like, this bloke's more important than the scoreline. And I think that is what Plum's message kind of is. You know what I mean? Like, in Australia, we're so sport obsessed that we'll forgive sportsmen for whatever they do off the field, and we won't worry about what they're really going through because we've got a grand final on Saturday. And that's kind of the old school kind of methodology. Put your jaw back in and go out there. And so I think he just needs to get a shitload of information, because I don't know what he's going through, or if he's showing symptoms of CTE or dementia or long-term concussion. So I think, if he was in there with those doctors getting the proper scans, then I would do exactly what they tell you. But yeah, he seems to, every game, every 80 minutes that he plays, something seems to happen to him where you see him kind of walking around drunk, or he's either done that to somebody else or himself. And I think a lot of his concussions have come through tackling, which I think is quite common and a little more innocuous. So yeah, I would, if I was him, I'd be getting all the information. I mean, he's a very charismatic guy. He's as tough as they come. I'm sure he's got a career after footy, but you'd want to be having a serious look at it.
Brendan Cowell, we have got so many texts coming through. I like this one. Illabunna Eel. Boys, it's been a long while since an Australian show has made me so emotional, but Plum was fantastic. Absolute gun show. Well done to Brendan and the team. Mate, well done on that. Now let's get away from the show temporarily. Your Sharkies, what's going on, BC? How do we fix this?
I know. A little bit like the New South Wales Blues, isn't it? Like, you think they're one thing, and then you're like, oh, hang on, maybe they're another.
That's right.
Last night, and still reeling from last night, by the way, and I just wanted to bring something up before we get into the Sharks, or are we going to talk about Origin after that?
No, mate. You lead the show.
I was just looking at Billy in the post-mortem. He went back to that bush poetry thing where he was like, it's the spirit of Queenslanders, because we survive floods and we survive bushfires, and that's why we have that spirit that won that game. It was like, does that mean they don't have that spirit if Lomax kicks 3 goals? Like, they don't survive bushfires and floods? And also, New South Wales and Melbourne, have we had any weather issues over the last 50 years, or is it just all smooth sailing in New South Wales? I mean, he played for the Melbourne Storm. I mean, when he was down there, were there any bushfires? I remember there was quite a lot of bushfires in Victoria. So it feels like Billy's shut out or ignorant to the fact that other states in Australia gone through some situations where it's taken a little bit of human spirit to scarce.
Yeah, it is a great point. But don't they're Queenslanders.
Yep,
we are Queenslanders.
No, they are Queenslanders. We're still Queenslanders.
So they're the only ones that are faced with natural disaster.
Yeah, let's let them have
at this time of the year.
Let's let them have. Although we've had what about when that southerly blows down there at down there in Cronulla? You basically get it first.
Well, that's exactly right. And he has no idea what New South Wales people go through. Yep. Sometimes, like, flat whites have gone up to nearly $6. We have to face that in Sydney. Acai bowls have got sugar in them. And sometimes, you're driving to the beach and at school pickup, it takes an extra 10 minutes. And these are hard things that we face in Sydney.
What about this one? When you're crossing the road and all of a sudden there's a bicycle lane, and all of a sudden a menu log guy, boom.
There's a bicycle lane. Or you're going for a jog and someone's got one of those extendable dog leads and it covers the entire footpath. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're like, kidney issues. That's what the Blues have to. We draw on that stuff.
I'll tell you what they don't have. Tell you what they don't have. The poo jogger.
No.
Tell Billy Slater, wait till you see someone run around the corner and in running outfit and just drop their pants and just drop a big Edgar. I mean, you're telling me that's hard to
and boys, just the other day, I was on General Holmes Drive heading northbound.
Please say cyclists.
And there was a peloton of like menu log drivers, with the box on the back?
Yep.
So, I'm not buying that people are all ordering at the same time. Is there some kind of rort where if you take the job, they give you the bike for the week? Is that what happens? Or so therefore, mates have come out travelling. They've all signed up a job. Really, they're doing the job just to get the free bike. Is that what happens? Because there was a peloton of...
No, they're probably going to...
Well, yeah, I think they're in it half for the social life, because you look at them, they probably don't have a lot of option. If you get the job, you're like, oh, I've instantly got mates. But yeah, I thought last night, it was a little bit disappointing. Do you know what? I feel like they've gone back to playing that Penrith footy with all the Penrith guys doing the Penrith thing. And there was a while there where Luai, we used to just rip the ball to Latrell in space, and Latrell and Crichton not involved enough. I feel like Penrith and Yo and Luai are doing that run in, dig out, you go back thing. And because Queensland are offside all night and no one blows a whistle, that doesn't work. And I feel like they went back to that again. You know what I mean? And I just feel like what's great about Moses is he just grabs the ball and rips it. He just passes it to a bloke in space.
Yeah.
And he's a bit more backyard footy, which is state of origin, whereas I feel like Nathan is methodical and he needs his Penrith guys to know his method, which I don't think is as effective at origin, whereas I feel like you just need a halfback who's like, oh, I've got the ball, should we go over here? Let's have a go over here and try over here, because you're never going to get all these players from different clubs to understand your science. And so I feel like why Mitch was so crucial, the un-Penrith, the whole squad, which is very mathematical, I think, with Penrith. Anyway, that was my pickup. I'm an actor, not an expert, but I just worry about that Penrith style affecting the Blue too much, because I don't think Queensland is troubled by it.
Well, thank God we had a couple of Penrith players, because I thought they were the best. Obviously, Brian Toto and Stevie Crichton. But anyway.
Exactly.
Look, we're fine.
That's why I'm an actor and not an expert. But yeah, the Sharks, the Sharks, at the start of the season, you go, hang on, with add in Fanua Blake, add him in, you think that should do it. That should be the icing to take us all the way. But it's been really hot and cold, and I don't quite understand what's going on, because there was 2 games there during Origin where we're playing Origin-affected teams, and I thought we should have won by 40. We lost by 40. So I know there's a lot of pressure being put on the halves there, and I'm still not sure which of those 2 halves are running the show. I think they're both great players on their day, but I can't quite, like when I'm going to watch it, I'm like, who's doing the thing? Like whose day is it? Whose team is it? But hopefully they can get it together. And I'd love to see Fitzy, because if nothing changes, nothing changes. I'd love to see Fitzy just mix it up a bit with a couple of players they're developing and throw some guys in there and maybe, do something a little bit wild mid-season with the halves or with some other younger forwards or something. Because you see when we played the Warriors, like their younger forwards just beat us up, and Metcalf was just, we let him go. We let Metcalf go, didn't we, for Hines? But yeah, I just feel a bit rigid, and what he's got isn't working, and Fitzy's a little reluctant to accept that. I wouldn't mind, just embrace a bit of change and see what happens. As I said, I'm an actor, not a footy expert. So
we were last year when you won the tipping comp.
Yeah.
You were last year.
That's right.
Yeah. BC,
and I'm lingering around the top again.
Yeah, got to let it linger. Well done, BC. Thank you very much. The Plum Show, or the book, you can get the book from all the good bookstores, but ABC iView is a way to catch up on all 6 episodes of Plum.
Yep.
BC, thank you so much. All the best for the Logies, mate, and we appreciate you having on this show once again.
You guys are the best. Thanks for your support. Go the Sharks.
Thanks,
Love you.
BC.
See you, BC.
See you, brother.
The Broncos, a 3-prong attack, Brian. They have signed Adam Reynolds, Katoni Staggs and Blake Moser have all re-signed with the Broncos. Reynolds has a 1-year deal, so he'll stay there at Red Hill for at least another year to the end of 2026. And he came out and said this, Adam Reynolds. He said, the club and the city have welcomed me and my family with open arms. Family means everything to me, and this is now home, says Adam Reynolds. Katoni Staggs is sort of the one who people are thinking that what that says to me, Brian, with Katoni Staggs, he's signed to the end of 2028, a 3-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
And Blake Moser, the big raps are on him. He's extended for another 2 years. I reckon the talk's going to fire up now around Cobbo.
Yeah, he won't be there. He will not be at the Brisbane Broncos. Not now.
Will he be there in July?
Yeah, you love this, don't you? You love a mid-season swap.
Yeah. Froth on it.
Yes, he will be there. July 1, he'll still be there.
He'll still be there. He'll finish the year as a Bronco. Okay, update from Monday's chat. So the playmaking cartel situation for the Broncos, Adam Reynolds, Ben Hunt, Billy Walters and young Kobe Black They're locked in.
Is Kobe Black the kid playing tonight?
Yeah, he played last year and he's backing it up. So interesting to see. It's going to be a nice battle. Kobe Black versus Mitch Woods, both touted as future first graders. So looking forward to that tonight. Blake Moses locked in till the end of 2027. So that's the playmaking cartel. Ezra Mam and Reece Walsh are locked into the end of 2029. They're pretty sorted there. But the Broncos who are off contract, and this is via NRL.com, Corey Pakes, Corey Jensen, Kobe Hetherington, but as I said, the big one, Selwyn Cobbo. So how does that play out?
He'll be gone. Selwyn's gone. Definitely. I know he wants to be close to, so maybe it's a Dolphin thing.
Oh, yeah.
He says he doesn't want to go, because he's from Cherbourg?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and he likes to go back there. So I just can't see him being at the Broncos, especially what's gone on. Like, he's now third. He's behind Dean Mariner. So, no, he won't be there.
Okay, Brian, something caught my attention, and it's kind of your domain, but it's time to do one of these.
He does. He does.
Okay, this blew up. This is blown up.
Feud.
Yes. Who are your favourite wrestlers back in the day? Oh, Hulk Hogan's the man, right?
I like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yep. And who was Jesse?
Jesse Ventura.
Yeah. What was his go? What was his sort of little
Jesse
the Body.
Jesse the Body
Ventura. Here's
Wasn't
what he had
he
to say.
a governor or something?
Well, here's what he had to say, Brian. This is blown up. This has exploded.
Okay.
You and Hulk were once good friends.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood of that ever being repaired?
Never.
Why?
I have to have a trust with someone to be their friend. And he's the one that ratted me to Vince when I tried to unionize. I told my lawyer the story, and in deposition you could ask about anything. And so I wanted to know who ratted me in the locker room, because there were no agents, no one from the office was in there when I did it. So it had to be one of the boys. With no hesitation, Vince went, Hulk Hogan told me. And I didn't show any emotion, but I almost tipped over in the chair, because he was my friend.
Ooh, Jesse the Body.
I'm hearing bad stories about Hulk Hogan. He's come out and there's a lot of people now turning on him.
Yeah, so he basically had all the wrestlers together,
Yep.
just Jesse the Body, and said, guys, come on, we need a union here. Let's pull it together. But then apparently Hulk Hogan, he was getting more than all of them put together.
Mm.
And as you hear, who was the bloke?
Jesse the Body.
Yeah, paint the picture.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, I know this was the year. This was the 80s and 90s. They were just full of coke and steroids.
Mm.
I didn't get around it too much, but the
not a bad
McMahon
idea.
documentary is worth a watch, boys, because it
is.
talks about all that stuff.
Yeah.
All the rivalries, like McMahon having his league, and then the TNT starting, what was it, WCW or whatever that one was?
New World Order.
The New World Order. Yeah, it was great. I'm not a mad wrestling fan, but delves into all that stuff with
Big
Hulk
business,
Hogan.
eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needing the foil.
How you holding up, Brian?
Yeah, I'm going to come.
We're in the second half now. We're in the second half.
Scotch is not nice. Jans, should Nathan Cleary have taken the field in his condition? No Origin team can afford passengers. That's from 264. Well, it was the day before, and he said he was okay. It was a groin injury, as we thought. So maybe he wasn't the
No, he was good.
It wasn't the cause.
How many
of it.
players are playing through injuries, though, throughout a season? Whether it's rep footy, NRL. Like, he was probably, like, by the sounds of it, he was probably, I'll get through this.
Mate, what they've achieved, right, no matter how this season finishes, and I do hope Penrith make a bit of a run, mate, to be in 5 straight grand finals and all the rep footy they've played, like, it is Herculean what they have achieved to this point.